Good evening to all the undead ghouls and monsters. We are your horror hosts for tonight's Last Rites. I am your horror host, Brandon Brown, and always with me is my co-host,
Ollin Hernandez.
We'd like to welcome you to episode 9. Tonight, we are going to be talking about the one and only Tim Burton. Ollin brought up Tim to me, said, hey, we should do an episode on Tim Burton, and I said that is a fantastic idea. So here we are. So we got some things to talk about.
Yes, Timothy Walter Burton, as he was named, born on August 25th, 1958, age 64 as of today's recording. Born in Burbank, California, U.S., born to a kind of an unlikely pairing. His dad was a baseball player, and his mom owned a gift shop that was mostly cat themed, which is a thing where he got like his weirdness for it. And his dad wanted him to like follow in his footsteps, and but sports was not like too much his bag. So he went more the artistic way, kind of like his mom did.
Yeah, he's definitely eclectic in his looks and his works. So I could see how sports was not a thing for him.
Yeah. What are his credentials over here? Film director, producer, screenwriter, animator, art director, writer, I guess too. You could add to that.
Yeah, he's got a plethora of things under his belt there. Yeah, he's known obviously for his gothic fantasy and horror in both his film and stop motion, and that's what he's mostly known for is his film work and his stop motion. If you've ever seen Nightmare Before Christmas, that's Tim Burton, obviously. If you don't know, you were living under a rock.
Yeah, very much Tim Burton-esque. Like once you see Nightmare Before Christmas, and if anything resembles that, that's going to be Tim Burton inspiration for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and throughout his movies, you can see like the art design in multiple movies of his throughout that movie Nightmare. We got so he's got film credentials, he's got television credentials, he's got some short films, he's got some other credits of being a producer, writer, also an actor in some films as it is.
Yeah, even directing commercials, music videos.
Yeah, he's got some music videos, which is really cool. And he's also an author.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been in the game here for a minute. 1971 to present day.
Yeah, very extensive body of work here that we're about to analyze.
He's also, from the looks of things, only had 4 serious relationships, at least that were in the public eye. And then quite a few of these were back to back to back. So we can start off with that real quick before we move into his body of work. So Timmy boy here, he's got himself a fancy eye for people. He's only been married once, and then the other 3 ladies that are in his life, or were in his life and one current, are considered his partners. So his first one was his wife, his spouse, first and only marriage. Married her in 87, divorced in 91. Lena Jasicki. I'm not sure, I might be butchering her name, I apologize. But she is a German artist and a special effects tech. So he met her on the set of one of the things that he was working on. and they seemed to, I guess, hit it off, and obviously they got married, and like young couples, if things don't work out, then it ends rather early, which looks like it did for this. But in that same year that he was divorced, he met Lisa Marie. She is an American model and actress. Was actually in a couple of his movies. Where's my paper stuck together? She was in Ed Wood. She played Vampira. She was in Mars Attacks, Sleepy Hollow, and Planet of the Apes. So those were 4 movies that were one right after the other. And after Planet of the Apes, he was with Helena Bonham Carter. But the funny thing about this relationship is that it seemed like he might have been cheating on Lisa with Helena during Planet of the Apes, because both of them were in that movie. Lisa had a lesser role, and Helena had a more predominant role. She had one of the starring roles because she was making a name for herself coming up here through the ranks. But it says that him and Lisa abruptly ended their relationship. So
Wow.
that tells me that there was a little bit of foul play in that.
Yeah,
Take it with a grain of rice, but it's that's how I read it. So
they certainly match.
Yep. Same movie, same actresses, same year that one. He splits from one and gets with the other. So Helena Bonham Carter, she is an English actress, and then she is also the only partner that he has children with. He has no children with any of the other ladies. Both of his kids, he has one son, one daughter. William was born in 2003, and Nell was born in 2007. And then there's a lot of speculation that these two were married, but nothing could ever be proven that they were actually married, especially when they split in 2014. It was always said that they were just partners, even though a lot of media says that they were married. But like I said, there's no proof, there's no marriage license, nothing.
Nothing official. Yeah,
nothing official. So, maybe common law in California of 10 years, says that you're married, but they weren't actually officially wed. And then he had a little bit of a non-public eye relationship, or not relationship, but time in between relationships. So if he was dating anybody, nothing was ever officially put out there. But when he ended his relationship in 2014, he didn't move on with somebody in the public eye until about 2022 with Monica Bellucci. She is an Italian model / actress.
Yeah, you might remember her from one of the Brides of Dracula on Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, she was also in The Matrix.
Right. That's right.
She, I think it was like the second one, maybe the second and the third.
Yeah.
But yeah, so right now she is his current partner, and they started seeing each other in about 2022, but things weren't official until 23, when things started getting posted on the media. So that way, all on the interwebs. If you look them up, you'll see a few things that they were together at in 22, but for the most part, everything's more public as of 23. So those were his relationships. Like I said, I don't know if there was anything in between Helena and Monica, but nothing was ever reported. So he may have stayed quiet until he met her, or maybe he was just in the works with her and then didn't make it official until later. Who knows? But yeah, he's got himself a fine eye for these ladies.
Certainly a good roster. So
Yeah.
Well done, Tim.
Good job, Timmy boy. So that's his relationships. And then we can talk about his bodies of work here. We got some early stuff Ollin wants to tell us about.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Vincent, which is a short animated film, which was recently remastered, and you can catch it on YouTube. It's only like 5 minutes long, and it's really cool. You start to see very much his style, the style that is predominant throughout his career as a director, as a visionary.
Yeah, a lot of the artwork that I see in that short was you can see inside of Nightmare and other of his gothic style movies that he does.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is super cool. And then also the Vincent, like Ollin brought it to my attention just like a week or so ago. I had forgot that I have seen it once before, once upon a time, and it wasn't until he was like, "Yeah, here's the link for it." So I looked at it, I watched it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I totally remember this."
Yeah.
And it's so cool. He also has Vincent Price doing the narration for it,
Yes.
which is super fucking cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Vincent Price's voice is so iconic. So to have it on one of his another one of his projects.
Yeah, because he had
early on.
Yeah, because he had him on early on this, and then I think it was one of his last performances was Edward Scissorhands.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, where he played the Geppetto-esque character.
Right. Up in the castle and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely a treat to see and hear Vincent Price. And then another one that jumped out at me was a live-action Frankenweenie from 1984, starring Daniel Stern, Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall from The Shining.
That's exactly right.
Oh wow, Olive Oil herself. I forgot she was in Popeye also.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're totally right. That's correct.
Yeah, that's an eclectic movie. That's a banger right there. Like if you haven't seen that movie, I mean that's also a different topic. Although not so much horror, but definitely if you're into film, definitely watch that movie. That movie's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Also starring the kid from the Never-Ending Story. I forget his name. Oliver. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember the last name. Which character was he? Was the
He played Victor, the main kid.
Victor? There was Bastion.
Barrett Oliver is the kid's name.
Barrett Oliver.
Yeah, he was the kid from the Never-Ending Story. The guy, the kid who rides that giant dog that flies. Remember?
Oh yeah, no, Bastion. His name was Bastion. Bastion Bucks.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's the name of the character in the Never-Ending Story. Yeah. So same guy, same kid.
Yeah, he's the one who's reading the book.
Right.
And then the story becomes real to him.
Yeah, exactly. And in Frankenweenie, he plays Victor Frankenstein, who's the kid. And also in the 2012 film, which was adapted from this 1984 live action. Except the live action was only like half an hour long or something like that. The newer version is extended a lot more to a full feature. Fun fact: Tim Burton actually gets fired from Disney for making this film. They told him that that he wasted the budget and that the movie was way too dark and a bit depressive for kids. So, which is weird coming from Disney, giving some of the movies that they made in the 40s and the 50s, but
yeah, but let's ignore that, right?
Yeah. Later he comes back to work for Disney, so
yeah, somehow it makes full circle, but not sure how that happened.
yeah, but initially he was fired from his job, and he was doing all sorts of storyboards and things like that. He did thousands of drawings for example, the Black Cauldron, amongst other animated movies for Disney. And but that, I guess, Frank and Winnie was the one that got him fired.
That's weird. Yeah, it shows that he worked on Tron and Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
Also, he worked on the animated Lord of the Rings, which was really cool. I actually hadn't seen that until like somewhere in the 2000s. I heard about The Hobbit. I had a girlfriend back in high school that was all about The Hobbit and was always trying to convince me to watch it. And I had no idea what the fuck she was talking about. Especially like I played D&D. I still do. In high school, and so, but none of the guys that I played with ever spoke about Tolkien, or any of his works. Yeah, which is, you know, highly connective of D&D. So, you know, yeah, it wasn't until like the 2000s when another buddy of mine, he had them, and he's like, yeah, let's watch these. He's like, you never seen them. So, and he's one of those guys, he's like, if you haven't seen it, you're gonna fucking watch it right now.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, we sat down and watched it, and I was like, this is cool. Like, why didn't I fucking ever watch this when I was younger?
Yeah.
But yeah, he did some artwork for that. You know, so this guy's, you know, really gotten around doing a lot of good things. Especially like like I said, he did the Lord of the Rings. These are like in his other credits. Animator for Fox and the Hound, Tron. You said he did like thousands and thousands of pieces of art for the Black Cauldron. He was the design consultant for the movie Stay Tuned. He was a participant in the movie Mary Riley, but it doesn't specify exactly to what that means as a participant. So, you know, I don't know if it's any type of producing or art direction or what. So
yeah, just as participant.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird. Beetlejuice, the animated series.
I remember that cartoon.
Yeah, so he has credit doing that. Family Dog was a design consultant for that. Lost in Oz, which I never even heard of, but it says unaired pilot, so obviously I probably would have never heard of it. Stain Boy is a 6-web short. What is it, like webisodes, like short webisodes. Back when they were doing like webisodes, which I don't even think is a thing anymore.
No.
Because the internet was so fucking new. And then Wednesday.
Of course.
Yeah. He did, I guess there's 8 episodes of Wednesday. He directed 4 of those episodes. So... But he's got some television credits that are also early on. Like 83 was like his first television credits, and that goes all the way up to Wednesday. I somehow read these out of order from his other credits to his television credits.
Oh.
These stupid papers.
You got Hansel and Gretel from 1983, directed. Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Fairy Tale Theater, 1986, both of those. Also director on both of those. So episode The Jar for Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and for Fairy Tale Theater, an episode called Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp.
And he does an episode. He's an animation designer for Amazing Stories. So these are pretty cool. These were like Creep Show and Tales from the Crypt, but more family oriented.
Okay.
So like every Sunday night, like the family would get together and sit down, and then it's called Amazing Stories, and they would have like all these really cool like scenarios and stuff like they would come up with, and so you just sit and watch them. So one of the ones that he did, I guess, was animated, called The Family Dog.
Oh wow, that actually makes a lot of sense now that you think of in retrospect the entire body of work of Tim Burton. There's always some sort of dog in his stories. Some that come to mind is obviously Sparky from Frankenweenie, Zero from was the Corpse's Bride.
No, Zero is from Nightmare.
So Scraps is probably from the Corpse Bride, I guess.
Yes, I think that's his name.
Yeah, Ratty Poodle was another one. Persephone from Frankenweenie again. Those are the ones that come to mind.
Oh, there was a dog in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Pee-wee's dog.
Oh yeah, I wonder what his name was now.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
But dogs are like a recurring character for Tim Burton. He must be a dog lover.
Yeah, he's got to be a dog lover. I think there's a lot of dogs in Edward Scissorhands. They were walking dogs a lot.
Yeah, he remember he would shear their
the poodle.
The poodle, yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah, so after that, that's where I got messed up with his other credits, and then I cut into like half of the television. So after the Amazing Stories was the Beetlejuice, and then he also did a not only was the episode from Amazing Stories called Family Dog, but then he did a TV show called Family Dog.
Yeah.
Which is funny. And then The Lost in Oz, The Stain Boy, and then Wednesday.
Which should be up for a second season, right?
Yeah.
This year or maybe next?
I'd have to read to see when it's supposed to be up. Possibly it's 24.
Yeah.
But it did get green lighted for a second season.
Good.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see if they're actually going to bring back Louis Guzman and
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes, thank you, Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia and Gomez. I heard some speculation that they were going to try and do like different actors and actresses, but that could have just been the media being the media, you know, and just saying a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I even saw like a reels or a story or something that said that even Jenna Ortega might have been recast, which it doesn't make any sense to me. But
yeah,
anyway.
That makes no sense because I think she actually embodies the whole Wednesday thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, she kicked it out of the park.
Yeah, definitely was a nice revival from Christina Ricci's version. Let's see. He's got music videos. We talked about that earlier. So he's done 4 music videos. Actually, he's done 3 music videos, and he's produced 1 music video. So 2006, he did The Killers, a song called Bones. He was the director for it and the writer for it. 2012, he was back again with The Killers for their song Here With Me. That one he only directed. And in the same year of 2012 was Linkin Park, Powerless. That one he was just a producer, so this is the only one he did not direct. And then there's this... I don't know if they're Mormon or not, but they're from Salt Lake. They're a deathcore band called Chelsea Grin. And their song is called Blind Kings, and he was the director of that. So obviously he must, either he really likes that style of music, obviously he likes The Killers, because, he wouldn't have opted to do a second video for them if he didn't like it. Or maybe the money was right. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird for him to go from The Killers to Chelsea Grin. Those are way 2 different styles of music.
Right.
But, like I said, he could have an eclectic taste. He's an eclectic guy. But yeah, those are his music videos. He's got quite a bit of producer credits, but then there's like these producer credits that really stand out here, like Cabin Boy, Batman Forever.
That's interesting.
Yeah, his third Batman movie basically got nixed. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm now seeing like a bunch of like posters and saw the cast of like what it would have been. Seemed interesting.
That was really
I definitely would have loved to see how that movie would have taken place.
One thing I heard about that is the studios thought it was again too dark or too grim, and what they were trying to do is sell toys, So it was mostly.
I don't know. I thought the original Batman was really dark, but I still bought the shit out of those toys.
Yeah. Especially with all the gadgets and everything that they had.
The Batman figure I had, his belt pulled out, so it was like that grappling hook that he had.
Yeah.
And that's what the belt was basically intended as. So you would pull it out, and it was retractable. So you would hook it on something, and then if you let Batman go, he would go up to the belt. Yeah. It was super fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have no idea. Some of the ideas they had for his third Batman was Harvey Dent actually becoming Two-Face again. Marlon Wayans was supposed to be the Robin. He even says that he was hired. He went through the entire process of casting. He got paid, but then they told him they weren't going to need him. And
that's shitty.
Yeah.
They still paid him, and he didn't have to act.
He says he still gets residuals from it. So he's not complaining, but it's too bad he didn't get to be Robin. But it would have been interesting to see a Marlon Wayans Robin.
Yeah.
And Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah. I mean, he had, what's his name? Why am I drawing blanks always? Lando. Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams, yeah.
Yeah, Billy D. Williams in the first Batman movie, he was Harvey Dent, you know,
and he was supposed to come back.
He was supposed to be the Harvey Dent in the third Batman movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So that would have really been interesting to see him transform into Two-Face.
Yes, sir. But it never happened. So,
That's
and
crazy.
he seems in some interviews that I've seen of Tim talking about it, he seems a little like it still hurts him, you know. It's still a disappointment. And he talks about like that meeting he had with the studios, and every time he pitched like an idea or something, they were like, yeah, but, and like in the middle of that one of those meetings, he was like, you guys just don't want me to direct. Just say you don't want me to direct, so we can stop the charades, you know. And anyway, that's how it went down.
Yeah. One thing I don't see throughout these lists is that Superman Lives movie.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another.
The one with Nicolas Cage.
The one with Nicolas Cage. That would have been amazing. Nick Cage was all up for it. Nick Cage is famously a big nerd, especially a Superman nerd. Didn't he name one of his kids Kal-El or something like this?
I think so. Yeah.
And
he's really got this fascination with things. Like, yes, he loves Superman. He loves Elvis. He loves Elvis so much he married his fucking daughter.
Yeah.
Like, he found a way to marry Lisa Marie Presley. That's how crazy he is. Like, that's insane.
Yeah,
you know.
That's a fanboy right there.
Yeah, good for him.
But yeah, that's another one where, like, if you see some interviews of him talking about the Superman movie, he seems super bitter. Like you can see he doesn't even want to talk about it when they ask him about it. He's like,
Yeah.
It kind of sucks because that would have been a great and well, we'll talk about that later. But the Superman movie would have been amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't see it. They don't include it in his body of work here, which is I know it never happened, but they still talked about the third Batman movie. But anyways,
yeah.
So some more producer credits. Nightmare Before Christmas is actually on his filmography, but it should have only been on the producer because he actually didn't direct it. But we'll get to that in a bit. But James and the Giant Peach and the movie 9, also stop motion, and also get mistaken a lot for Tim Burton films. Even though he only produced these movies, people still talk about him as if they were still Tim Burton movies, like as if he directed them.
It kind of makes sense. 9 really does look like when
9.
you see it,
yeah,
like, oh, wow.
the whole art concept of 9 is like his style.
Yep.
And then I can see like the stop motion of James and the Giant Peach. It's very Nightmare stop motion, even though it's not the look of Nightmare, but the early on figures of the stop motion is very Nightmare.
Yeah.
And it's only 3 years apart from Nightmare, because Nightmare's from '93. This is from '96. And then obviously there's a big jump from that to 9, but I think 9 is more animated than stop motion.
Yeah.
Even though there's some scenes that look very stop motion, but I think it's 100% animated. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Vampire Hunter.
That he's a producer of that, which I didn't know. That was a cool movie. You see that one?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I love the liberties that they take on that. It's definitely a great fantasy to believe that, Abraham Lincoln was a vampire hunter. That would have been cool. I think I read some outlets out there that people think that shit for real, but
right.
I doubt that.
Yeah.
That's actually what he was.
It's one of those cool, like you could still place it with like those horror period pieces.
Yeah.
I would place it with like, I don't know, like Sleepy Hollow or Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. That one's kind of cool too.
Oh yeah. Or even like if you're even talking about comics too, like what was it, Gaslight by Gotham, or Gotham by Gaslight?
Oh yeah, Gotham by Gaslight. Yeah.
Yeah, like during the Jack the Ripper time.
Right.
That was really cool. And then Alice Through the Looking Glass. That's the last thing in his producer credits here, which is the second movie to Alice in Wonderland. So also a misconception that people think that he directed this movie, although he just produced it.
Right.
So yeah, those are pretty much his smaller bodies of work. There's some short films that he did, back in the day, since he started in '71. So we talked about a few of them. We started with the Vincent and the Frankenweenie. But in '71, he had 3 that he directed. 2 of them he wrote. The first one is The Doctor of Agar. I'm fucking dyslexic. The Island of Dr. Agar, Prehistoric Caveman, and Houdini, The Untold Story. And then in '72, he has a short called Tim's Dreams, which I can only imagine that's maybe like something about him.
Yeah.
I can, or unless he just named a character after himself. '74, he has a movie a short called 1997, so maybe futuristic. '79, he has 3 more. Doctor of Doom, King and Octopus. This looks like it says animation. And the last one is Stalk of the Celery Monster. And then '82, Luau. And then also in '82, like I said, we talked about it earlier, Vincent. And then '84 was Frankenweenie. And then 2012, Vampire's Kiss / Blood Inside. That one, he is only an actor in. Plays the character Van Helsing. And then he's a producer in this last one from 2013 called Captain Sparky versus the Flying Saucers, which is what you were talking about with Frankenweenie.
Yeah, I think it's an offshoot of Frankenweenie, because in Frankenweenie, the very first sequences of the kid Victor making a movie with his dog Sparky, in which Sparky plays a monster that is like a Godzilla type monster that is ravaging this paper mache city that he made, and
that's cool.
you only get like snippets of it because the scene is about the family watching the movie. But I think this Captain Sparky versus the Flying Saucers, I think it's an actual short of that movie. So you get to watch the movie that the family's watching in the Frankenweenie movie.
That's cool.
So a movie within a movie.
Movie within a movie. We need to talk about the commercials or his book. So
Right.
He, like I said earlier, he was an author. So in 1997, he wrote this book called The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories. Some of the characters in the book would later appear in the Flash animation, so that's that webisode thing I was talking about earlier. Stain Boy, which was created by him, directed and written by him. And you have some information on Stain Boy, don't you?
Yeah, so Stain Boy gained a cult following that's very strong, especially on Twitter. So on Twitter, fans could contribute to Stain Boy's story and pitch sort of like stories or scenes that they would like to see for Stain Boy, and Burton would read these and would handpick the tweets that he liked the most, and he would add them to the actual continuum canon story of Stain Boy.
That's so awesome. That's like a fucking fanboy's dream come true right there. You know, getting your body of work approved by, you know, Tim Burton himself, and then
absolutely.
having it included into his own individual short. Like, that's so awesome.
Yeah. It inspires me. I might brainstorm and try to pitch something or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let me know how that goes. So that's the only book that he has. I'm actually trying to find it. There's copies of it, but I'm trying to find a nice older copy. I'd like to get a vintage copy of it, just to have it. Yeah, because one day I would like to meet him, and that would be the thing that I would want him to autograph.
Yeah.
I'm not big on, like, you know, when I meet people, you know, I usually, if I shake their hand or anything like that, or it's just like, hey, it's nice meeting you. I don't try to go all like fanboy or crazy like over celebrities. They're just regular people like you and me. They just, you know, obviously have a cooler job than I do. But I would definitely have him sign this book, you know, because I'm sure this is something that means something to him. You know, when you take the time to author something, you know, that's pouring a lot of your soul into something.
Yeah.
You know, movies are one thing, but like writing a book, you know, that's something completely different. It's a whole other entity.
Yeah, a bit more personal, right? Because movies and things like that, they're a collaborative effort.
Yes,
and a book is a lot more.
The book is you. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe you're, I don't even know what they're called. I guess producing. I don't know what they're called, but I'm going to call it for now their producer or their person that's, you know, their editor.
Yeah.
Their editor. Sometimes editors will tell them they have to change things or,
right.
You know, but, you know, a lot of times these authors, they just put their feet down. They're like, no, this is my book. This is what it's going to be. So, but yeah, movies, it's definitely a collective, you know. It's if the studio doesn't like the way it is or doesn't like how it's going, you know, they have the liberty to change shit, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are basically going to say, we own you, you know, and we own this film. So whether you wrote it or directing it, you know, which is, you know, shitty. That's why a lot more people now are just doing it on their own. A lot more indie stuff coming out, which is good, you know. So yeah, and then he did some commercials. I don't know where I was going with that when I said, oh yeah. Commercials. So he did 3 commercials. He did one for some chewing gum, and he did 2 for Timex. So in 1998, he has a commercial called Garden Gnome. I guess these are just the titles of these. The subject was Hollywood chewing gum. I never even heard of this, so I don't even know what that is.
I've never chewed a Hollywood chewing gum.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's a prop or what. And then 1999, did a commercial for Timex titled Kung Fu, and then one in 2000 titled Mannequin. So those are his commercials. So he's done music videos, commercials, wrote a book, has a bunch of shorts when he first started. Did some television, and now we're on to his body of his filmography. So guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So he's got 19 films. It would have been 20 if I counted Nightmare Before Christmas, but he didn't direct this one.
Right.
So it's not technically his body of work, even though he produced it. Like I said, that should have been in the producer credits when I read the producer credits earlier.
Yeah, but everybody adds it to his filmography because I don't know, they just do.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Nightmare, you don't talk about Henry Selick, the guy who actually directed it. You talk about Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, yeah.
It's Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, which is, I think, exactly what it says on the
title,
poster on the title, yeah. Which is weird. I think I read some time ago that Henry was pretty pissed about that, or somewhat upset, that he didn't get credit for it. I think because it's technically a Disney movie, but it was on their Touchstone Pictures studio, so it wasn't actually through Walt Disney movie, or was it Walt Disney Pictures, like all the actual Disney movies are through. So I mean, that could be one reason. I'm not too sure, but that's just speculation on my part.
Yeah. Also branding, I guess. By then, Tim Burton had a few successes, so.
Well, he had quite a few successes by that point.
Yeah, the studios just thought it would sell better, I think.
Yeah, that's just another reason the studio is interfering in things. So that would be something along the lines like, as a director, if Henry Selick wanted, his movie to be his movie, that's one of the things that he would want to fight for. But then, like I said, at the end of the day, the studio would be like, well, it's technically our movie, and we'll call it what we want.
Yeah.
So
he should fight for like a director's cut of Nightmare Before Christmas, and then he would get the recognition, I think.
Yeah, I mean, with the story and all the animation or the stop motion, that's all 100% Tim Burton. This guy was just directing it.
Right.
But still, directors, they usually get the big credit, and they stand out as a big name. I honestly couldn't even tell you another movie that he directed.
No, exactly. That's another thing.
As opposed to Tim Burton, I could tell you a shitload because we're talking about him.
Yeah.
We're not doing episode 9 Henry Selick. We're doing episode 9 Tim Burton.
There you go.
So, sorry Henry. It is what it is. Okay, so so Timmy Boy's body of work here in filmography started in 1985 with a little ditty called Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yes, sir. I watched this as a kid. Never knew it was Tim Burton.
Yeah, me neither. It wasn't until years later, like when I found out that it was Tim Burton directed it, because it's not it's not your typical. I mean, obviously it's the first one, so maybe that's him getting his feet wet. Because it's not the typical Tim Burton. Nothing in it screams Tim Burton. There's no art design that says Tim Burton, other than what we talked about earlier with the dog. But
right.
If you didn't know that Tim Burton directed this or was paying attention to it, then you wouldn't have even put it together with that the dog thing was a thing.
The only thing that I would say, it makes sense that this is a Tim Burton movie. Is some of the deviations that there is from the show to the movie. The movie was a little bit more, I don't know, they were like more intense. Like even as a kid, I remember like, wow, like what am I watching right now? Like some of the scenes are a little bit psychedelic, and it gets a little bit intense. Some things that I don't think he would have gotten away with on the TV show, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously, the TV is really aimed at kids, opposed to the movie. Especially the large Marge scene. That's what really stood out to me.
Yeah.
When the truck driver chick dropped off Pee-wee, and then after that long story that she told him about what happened to the truck driver, and then she tells him Large Marge sent you.
Yeah, so definitely not quintessential Tim Burton, but a good start nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a good platform to begin. So 3 years later, 1988, Beetlejuice came out, and this is kind of the start where I saw where he started utilizing some of the same actors for multiple movies. He would use certain actors for 2-3 movies, and then he would pick another actor from one of those movies to move on to like his next set of movies, or similar to like how his bromance with Johnny Depp began. Something clicked with him. Same thing with like Danny Elfman, who does most of the music for all of his films. That made no sense. Most of or all. He did a lot of the music in his films.
Yeah.
He uses those two guys more than anybody. But yeah, like Beetlejuice, this is the start of him and Michael Keaton's relationship. Because the next year after Beetlejuice, he went to Batman, and who was Batman?
Michael Keaton.
Exactly.
The Batman.
Yeah, the Batman.
I mean, at least my Batman. I'm a kid of the 80s, so that's my Batman.
Yeah, mine too. I was beside myself in 1989 when I found out they were making Batman and how cool it was going to be. Because all you had was that poster. It was black, and it had the gold bat symbol on it. And it was like the coolest fucking thing I ever saw. And then I saw some stills later on in like those magazines, and then they showed a picture of him in full suit, and it was all black, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah, another thing to point out is, I don't know if they ever did this before that, but I saw it happen more and more where they would, you know how when the movie The Batman Begins, not Batman Begins, but when the Tim Burton's Batman begins, you see the Warner Brothers logo turn from its original font to a more Batmanized, Gothamized form, right?
Isn't that it looks animated, because at the end of it you see like Batman's cape like swoops over it, right?
Yeah.
So to me that always looked animated. I don't know if that was actually real or if it was an animation.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was very well done.
Yeah,
it was the fact that we can't tell whether or it speaks to the quality of it. But then after that, a lot of other studios would do that, like Paramount and things like that, where they would themize their studio logo with whatever the movie was going to be. Right?
I think Mission Impossible does that. With who is it? They're with Paramount. It's like it's the scene, or not the scene, but like it's the part where the stars are falling, and then as the stars are falling, that's where it goes right into. Kind of like Star Wars, how it's space, and as it starts to pan up, then you start to see the starships, and then you see a planet. And it's like the same reoccurring
like
theme.
A star battle or something like that.
Yeah, but the same thing like Mission Impossible. It's like the stars coming down onto the logo, like above the mountain and stuff like that, and then it how they're coming down. It goes right into the scene. It like blends so well.
Yeah.
It's really hard to explain. It's definitely a visual thing.
Right. I think the first time I remember seeing it was with the Batman.
Yeah, same here. But I see what you're saying about how other studios started seeing that was a cool idea and copy it.
It really speaks to a Tim Burton style too, right? Of just even though 30, 40 years ago CGI wasn't really a thing, but it was minimal CGI with like a lot of more practical effects, and you see it a lot in Beetlejuice, right? Where he makes a lot of these images, and a lot of them are like half stop motion, half CGI, and a third half of just practical.
Is it actually
effects.
CGI though? I don't think does he actually use CGI?
Not in the earlier ones, but it's a recurrent thing where like he refuses to make his movies look like Shark Boy and Lava Girl or like whatever. I forgot the name of that movie, but like too many green screens everywhere, and like he just refuses to do that. And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like practical effects. Back to Star Wars, I do like the prequel trilogy, and a lot of people are basically one way or another way on it. But I like the original trilogy better because they used practical effects opposed to using CGI. Obviously Lucas found that it was probably a cheaper and easier medium to, go green screen, shoot on a soundstage. But it was cool visually, but my heart lies in the practical effects. Like the original trilogy. Just there was something about it that was super cool. Indiana Jones, all those early works of movies that have those practical effects.
Yeah, just every slasher movie with buckets of blood. That's me all day, all night.
Yeah, totally. Okay, yeah. So moving on from Batman in '89, we go to Edward Scissorhands. Comes out in '90. So this is the start of the Tim Burton Johnny Depp relationship. Moving on from there is '92. He brings back Michael Keaton for Batman Returns. This one's really cool. Definitely a cool concept. He goes from one villain to multiple villains. And not even so much multiple villains. Like his main villain in that one is the Penguin, and Catwoman. If you know anything about the Batman story, she's not a bad guy. She's not a good guy. And she's also his love interest for quite some time. Amongst other females throughout the Batman saga. But I think she is the one that really has captured his heart. But it was cool for him to bring in these two people, And then there's also a few other Arkham-esque villains in Batman Returns. Christopher Walken's character. He was obviously a bad guy in that. A different kind of bad guy, but still a bad guy. So there's multiple villains in this movie. But yeah, so definitely well done. So like we spoke earlier about Batman, the third Batman that was going to come out, which I don't remember what the hell the title of it was. It had a title. I think I deleted all the pictures though. Anyways, it just seems like his movies were just getting better and better and better.
And to this day, Michelle Pfeiffer is one of my favorite Catwoman. Right after Julie Newmar, but.
Oh yeah.
But definitely a cool style with all the stitching and the way.
Yeah, she made it her own.
Her origin story in this one was really cool too, different from the comics. They certainly took a lot of liberties with the characters, but they made it work really well. And again, sad that we couldn't see a third installment with these guys.
So the next year after Batman Returns is '93, but yet this is the one we talked about that he did not direct, only produced and wrote the story, is The Nightmare Before Christmas. So
musical.
It's with these movies and the musicals. All right, next we have 1994's Ed Wood. This is where we see the return of Johnny Depp with the Tim Burton Depp collaboration. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah, mine too. Absolutely. All black and white for this one, which is an interesting choice for Tim Burton. Yeah,
I heard a lot of people when this movie was before it came out, they were kind of, I wouldn't say upset, but they were worried that the black and white would not do as good. I don't know exactly what it did number-wise in the box office, but definitely a cult favorite.
Very, very cool performances. You had Patricia Arquette in there, Sarah Jessica Parker. Bill Murray was one of my favorite performances. But you had mentioned before that Martin Landau's performance was one that you really liked. Yeah.
Martin Landau playing Bela Lugosi, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
This guy's so if you know who Martin Landau is, like his looks aren't very conventional, leading man looks. So he's a little different looking, and not in a bad way, but he's just not your normal leading man, that chiseled look. So, but the makeup job, I didn't even know it was Martin Landau when I saw the movie initially. I knew he was in it, and it wasn't until the end of the movie was like, who did Martin Landau play? I didn't even see him in the movie, and then I saw it was Bella, and I was like, holy shit!
Yeah.
I mean, everything, the makeup they did was such a fantastic job. I think you said something about mannerisms, like.
Yeah, his accent, especially that scene where he moves the hand and he tells Ed Wood that you have to be Hungarian and double jointed, and then he's moving his hand like if it was double jointed. It's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah, where he's trying to hypnoptize Vampira
Right.
through the TV.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you see him do like the locking of the hands together, like from
White Zombie.
Yeah, that was so cool. Yeah, and Vampira, Lisa Marie. So at the time, he was dating Lisa Marie, and this is one of the first of 4 movies that she was in. And she did a fantastic job as Vampira.
Yeah. I think she came together as an actress here. Lots of speaking parts, and she did really well as Vampira. And the scene she did, that was the same scene from Plan 9 from Outer Space, where they redo that cemetery scene where she's Vampira as one of those weird zombies or something.
Yeah, and they got fucking George the Animal Steel to play Tor's part.
Yes.
So that was really cool. I mean, that was a good find for them because they're similar builds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did a great job. Definitely playing Vampira, and then also playing the actress who was Vampira, Mela Normie.
Yeah, Mila Nurmi?
Mila. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. I love you, Vampira, but your name is very hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing both parts, like in the movie. She wasn't just Vampira, she was showing that she was the actress who was behind Vampira as well. So that was really good writing on his part to incorporate those two. And then definitely for her to show off those acting chops. That's a hard one to say. So yeah, Ed Wood, definitely. Patricia Arquette, oh my God, I don't know how many times we've talked about Patricia Arquette.
Right.
I love Patricia Arquette. Definitely so much better than Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh yeah.
Although it made me laugh, and same thing too. So a buddy of mine, Vito, he's got a podcast as well.
The Gates of Chimino.
Definitely check that out.
Yeah.
If you got some time. They did one on Ed Wood, and they were talking about the scene with Sarah Jessica and the whole like where she was reading like the reviews about having a horse face, and that shit was so funny. When he brought it up, it made me laugh because when I rewatched the movie again, like I was like, oh yeah, and then like, you could see it. Like,
right.
I don't want to talk shit on her, but it's in the media. Like, people have said
it's
that.
a meme. It's a meme. It's a recurring joke. I mean,
so I mean, it's like if
Family Guy did
if she was in on it, obviously kudos to her for you know playing along with that. But that shit was so funny. Yeah, and then obviously Johnny Depp, he's playing the title character of Ed Wood. He's Edward D. Wood Jr. And he's just like a can-do guy,
plays him very quirky, very like you said, very can-do, very positive outlook type guy.
Yeah, exactly. He can turn a negative into a positive, and just I love that attitude, and like how like he's the kind of guy I would love to be friends with, like if he was ever around in this day and age. He's definitely a positive person to keep on your arsenal of friends. And then like you said, Bill Murray. Like, Bill Murray was freaking awesome.
Amazing.
So another little tidbit about Bill Murray is Vito. Vito says he does not like Bill Murray at all.
Really?
Doesn't think he's funny.
Oh, wow.
But he said Bill Murray's performance in Ed Wood was awesome. Said he really enjoyed it. Definitely didn't want to take that away from him. But he said everything else, he's like, fuck Bill Murray. I don't know if he says that, but like in so many words, that's what you get from it.
Right.
But yeah, it's just funny, like his take on him. But yeah, he did a great job playing Bunny. And like the whole I felt so bad for him too when he was talking about how excited he was talking about how going to Mexico to get his transition surgery, and then like it like fell through. And you just feel so bad for him.
And if it wasn't for the band of mariachis, he doesn't know what we would have done.
And they were right there.
Yeah, they were right there.
That was great. And then like the whole baptism scene. Where he's like basically like telling Ed, he's like, you're the only fucking asshole in Hollywood that that would get all your friends baptized to get a movie made.
Yeah, I love the line where he's like, "Do you renounce Satan and all his evils?" And Bill Murray's just like, "Sure." So that was good performance. Another one that stands out is Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah, Jeffrey Jones. They also, like I said, they did a whole podcast on that. And Jeffrey Jones, there was a lot of information about Jeffrey Jones I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
The not so good stuff towards the end of his career there, like where he disappeared, but right before he disappeared, with the whole I'm guessing I don't know if it's child pornography or something. Like that, a lot of accusations. So not sure what was up with that, but yeah, he was such a good character actor for many years. One of my favorites was the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's tremendous. But yeah, we could fucking just talk about Ed Wood as an episode by itself, you know. But
yeah,
I don't want to jump on Vito's coattails about that one. I think he did a good job.
Go check out that episode over there.
Yeah. So moving on from Ed Wood, because we could just keep going. But if you haven't seen it, go see it, rent it, buy it. I don't give a fuck. Find a way to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough said about that. So the next movie is 1996, Mars Attacks. This one was a little different. I actually only got to see like tidbits of it. I know Lisa Marie's in it. She doesn't play the traditional Martian. She's like the mom or something like that, or like the like she's dressed up kind of like very 50s looking, but like weird.
Yeah.
Very alien-esque, because obviously she's a Martian. And as were like the Martians themselves, they were really funny looking. So really quirky. Who all was in this one?
You had Jack Black, Annette Bening, Danny DeVito was in that, Jack Nicholson. Glenn Close, I don't remember.
I think she had a main role in that, Glenn Close. I could be wrong. Or maybe it was... Oh, she was the first lady. It was Annette Bening who had the main role. Jack Nicholson, he played the president, so Glenn Close was his wife. And I didn't even realize Jack Black was actually in it.
Yeah, he's one of the soldiers, and he doesn't fare too well at the end. Spoilers. Then there was the young couple was Lucas Haas and Natalie Portman. Sarah Jessica Parker was also in it.
There he is, recycling some actors.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan. Oh, wow. I did not know that either.
I don't remember Christina Applegate being in it, but apparently she's in the cast.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge cast. Holy shit.
Yeah, the cast is
yeah, I actually need to sit down and watch this one. Paul Winfield. I love this guy. He's a great character actor. Yeah, it's an array of people here. God damn.
Michael J. Fox.
Really?
I do remember him.
You have like a small role, or was it a big role, or?
No, it was pretty big. I think it was pretty permanent.
Huh. Yeah. Well, I'll have to sit down and watch it. Yeah, because I've only seen like parts, like here and there, like a couple scenes. Like I've walked into like people's houses while they're watching it, and I'll sit down for a minute, and then we'll take off and go do whatever it was what we were gonna do.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah.
But that's how I've seen only the bits and pieces of it. Tom Jones, what the fuck? Martin Short.
Yeah, of course Tom Jones is in it. Yeah. All right, now I remember. Yep.
That's crazy.
I think he just plays himself in that one.
Well, I think our pirate has. I unplugged those, but I think the pirate gave me that movie, so I'll definitely add it to my my drive.
Yep.
Go take home and watch this weekend, so I actually can watch it. So moving forward to 1999, Sleepy Hollow. This one's got the return of Johnny Depp, Christina Ricci. Lisa Marie is also in this. This is where she plays the mom of Christina Ricci / the witch of the woods. which I think is the character that she is playing, something like that. Oh, Lady Crane. No, not Christina Ricci's mom. Johnny Depp's
It would
mom.
be Johnny Depp's mom.
Yeah, because he's Ichabod. I'm all backwards here. I knew she was someone's mom. That counts for something. God damn it. But yeah, this is a really cool one. I really like his take of Ichabod Crane through this movie.
Yeah, he had a lot of like comedic type things to a very dark backdrop, right?
Yeah. Jeffrey Jones, Ian McDermott, fucking Emperor himself was in it.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah. This one's neat. I'm gonna have to rewatch it just for that.
And then he has obviously the Hessian, the horseman himself, was played by Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
That was super cool to see when I saw that.
Michael Goff. That's also in it.
There it is, Alfred.
Richard Griffiths. I remember him. He's a cool actor. Casper Van Dien. Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
He's from Starship Troopers.
Yep.
Amongst other things. Richard Griffiths, he plays Harry Potter's uncle. Who else was in this? Christopher Lee obviously was in it. He's another character that's reoccurring in a lot of his movies. Why won't this go up? What the fuck? Whatever. There we go. So yeah, a lot of good people casted in this. There we go. Christina Ricci's mom was played by Miranda Richardson, Lady Van Tassel. But yeah, like I said, I like Tim's take on Ichabod and Johnny's performance of him. It was really cool.
Blonde Christina Ricci.
Yeah, and blonde Christina Ricci. It was the first time you see her as blonde.
Yeah, that was a little bit.
I was taken back on that.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this is different. Kind of like a little bit, a little something. And then the last movie with Lisa Marie is Planet of the Apes. This one she had a little bit lesser role, and it seemed like her roles were getting lesser and lesser. Like her role was a little bit less in Sleepy Hollow, but it was still a main character.
Yeah, an important
character. As to where Planet of the Apes, Nova is a particularly important character, but not the main character. So, and this is kind of where I'm seeing that maybe Tim has blossomed a relationship with Helena, who plays Ari. And you have like some other actors in Tim Roth.
Paul Giamatti was super funny in this one. Oh
yeah, he is such a good character actor. I fell in love with this chick right here, Stella Warren.
Oh yeah.
Like I followed her for a while, like in the movies. She was so fucking hot.
Yeah.
Playing the human chick. Michael Clark Duncan did a really good job in it. I did not know Chris Christopherson was in this movie. That was like news to me. And there's Glenn Shaddix. He was from Beetlejuice. He played one of the dinner guests of the family.
Yeah. I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, I think.
Oh yeah, he's in a lot of martial arts movies.
Yeah, you remember him from the earlier Mortal Kombats.
Yeah. Was it who was he? Shang Tsung or
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi.
He was one of those guys.
Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung.
There we go. Yeah, that was close. Shang Tsung. Yeah, he was Shredder, wasn't he? Like in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Was he? No.
No. I could have swore.
I would remember that.
I don't know. It sounds racist.
No, I don't think it is.
We got some silence going on here. Trying to fucking look it up. I swore it was him that played Shredder. Obviously, it was a different actor.
Yeah, different actor.
Okay. Yeah, but Planet of the Apes, Mark Wahlberg. I thought he did an okay job. He definitely wasn't Charlton Heston. Even though I never really liked the originals. But you know, they were so unique for the time. But yeah, this is the end of one relationship and beginning of a new relationship for old Timmy boy.
Yeah.
Although I would have picked Estella Warren, but that's just me. But she was probably way too young at the time.
Right.
But yeah, she was hot. Moving on from that movie, which was in 2001 to 2003, is Big Fish. So definitely a really cool story movie. Has Obi-Wan himself, Ian McGregor.
Also, Elena Bonham Carter was in it. Plays Jenny the Witch. Danny DeVito is back. Miley Cyrus was in it.
She was?
Apparently. Played somebody named Ruthie. We got Steve Buscemi, Marion Cotillard. Good cast.
Albert Finney, he plays the father of Obi-Wan himself, Ian McGregor. He's the one basically telling the story.
Right.
Of, you know, his Big Fish story. Jessica Lange, Alison Lohman, Billy Crudup.
Yeah. Dr. Manhattan himself.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Robert Guillaume, Mr. Benson. I think that's what I remember him from. Marion, is it Cotillard?
Cotillard, yeah.
Oh, Cotillard. Oh yeah, she's like some kind of French, right?
French lady, yeah.
Yeah, she was in the third Christopher Nolan Batman movie.
Ah, that's right, yeah.
She was
Talia.
Talia, yeah. And then Carl the Giant, Matthew McGorry. I met him at the 2006 Fangoria.
Wow.
It was right after Devil's Rejects, and then he passed away like after that.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it was super cool. He was so big.
Yeah.
Super nice guy, but yeah, he was huge. I was just like, whoa. I felt a little intimidated.
Like how much bigger than you do you think he was? Did you reach like his shoulder or?
No.
Not even? Wow.
I'm 5'5", so I think when because he has to walk. He had to walk with a cane.
Yeah.
So he was a little hunched over.
Okay.
But if he was to stand up perfectly tall, I probably came up to a little past his waist.
Wow. Yeah, that's a tall man.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Like I said, really nice guy. Yeah, like his hand when I shook his hand, it engulfed my hand. Like my hand disappeared in his.
Wow.
Yeah, really nice guy. Really cool to meet him. So Big Fish, definitely a really cool, different kind of movie. You know, someone basically telling yarns out there, especially, you know, father to son, like they do back in the day, you know, telling stories. But it's cool to see the visual behind the stories.
Yeah. Mostly fantasy, right? But
yeah,
like you said, visually very striking.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the better of Tim Burton's movies. 2005, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So bringing back Johnny Depp. This is based off the book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Back in the day, Gene Wilder did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is based on the book of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Right. But they opted to call it Willy Wonka. I guess they were more Willy Wonka driven than Charlie driven.
I see.
So even though Johnny Depp was Willy Wonka in this movie, the kid who played Charlie actually did a really good job in the movie, and he went on to be a pretty well known actor now. He was Norman in the Bates Motel series.
Ah.
So
Yeah.
So that's.
I've only seen it in a couple.
Oh yeah, you should watch it. That's
okay.
so good. Oh my god. Even it goes all the way into Psycho. The last season basically is Psycho.
Wow.
How it goes into it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Okay.
So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Also, Helena Bonham Carter. She's back. Plays Charlie's mom. It's a really cool. That's a really cool fantasy movie. In fact, one of the little Missy Pyle's in it. She plays Violet's mom. She was in Big Fish as well.
Yeah.
Where did it go? It's way down there. But yeah, it's weird to see like their take on today's version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, with both families. So like the mom and the dad, and then it has her parents and his parents. How they're like in that one giant bed, both on each side. So like the bed's like like a giant rectangle. So on one side of the rectangle has the one set of parents. On the other side of the rectangle, the bed is the other side of the parents.
Yeah.
So they're all their feet are like together. But it's just weird to see that, and like how they're all like cramped in this like tiny ass house, and just like how they're kind of like they're all basically thankful for what they have and what they're given, and how excited they are for Charlie when he got the ticket, and then how the one grandpa used to work for the chocolate factory, and they're like, oh, he should be the one to go with you.
Yeah, they added a little bit of extra backstory, right?
Yeah. I'm not gonna find it. Well, there it is. I don't even know why I'm looking. I was looking because, so in the movie, I thought Freddie Highmore. That's the kid who plays Charlie. This girl right here, she plays Violet, but I thought that was Johnny Depp's daughter, because Johnny Depp's daughter, with the way she looked at the time and the way Johnny Depp's daughter looks now, I thought they were the same person.
Oh.
And for the longest time, I was always telling people, I'm like, oh yeah, Johnny Depp's, one of the movies he's acting with his daughter in. And I was dumb. I didn't know, because I didn't realize that she was a different person. I looked up the credits like not that long ago, and I was like, oh, it's not his daughter.
Different person.
Yeah, some other chick. Oh, oops. Moving on from that, same year though, is The Corpse Bride. So this one is stop motion. Is it stop motion or is it animated?
I would say it's animated. Maybe a hybrid.
Or maybe it just looks like it's stop motion because of like the detail.
It's stop motion.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
2005. Stop motion animated. Also, Helena Bonham Carter.
Yep.
In the titular role. Johnny Depp.
Emily Watson, Tracy Ullman, Albert Finney,
Danny Elfman, of course.
Michael Gough, Christopher Lee. He's got a lot of English people in this.
Yeah.
Danny Elfman doing Mr. Bone Jingles. Little play on words there. He's got Deep Roy in this one also. He was the Oompa Loompa in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. which is also funny too because he was. I didn't know. Not only was he like in Return of the Jedi, but he was also in the Neverending Story. He was the guy who was riding on those snails that were fucking race snails.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Also, Corpse Bride, also a musical with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter singing, which then they go on to continue singing together in Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. Well, that must have been the precursor to it.
Right, right. They probably got the idea. They're like, hey, we could do this, but live action. Not 2007, going in from Corpse Bride to Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, back with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter. Yeah, I had high hopes for this one. I went in thinking maybe I'll like musicals now. This is something I should like, but I don't know.
See, I knew that this was a musical originally, and I just thought when they made this movie, it wasn't going to be a musical.
Right, okay.
And I was fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Because, like, after watching that movie, I had, like, that fucking My Knife song in my head forever and ever and ever. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, something about musicals that I'm pretty sure if I saw Sweeney Todd, for example, live, like on Broadway or something, I would enjoy it a lot more than in a movie. But in a movie, I expect a movie, you know? Like, I don't know.
And so, like, my first exposure to Sweeney Todd was that stupid fucking Jersey Girl movie, which is, I don't know why I said stupid fucking Jersey Girl movie, because I actually like that movie. Kevin Smith,
yeah.
Yeah, really cool movie, you know, and then that was the fucking, that was the number that the little girl chose to do as her play.
Right.
And then she wrangles, like, all of her, like, her dad and her grandpa and all his friends into it to help with the, with it.
To sing with her, yeah.
Which was really cool, but yeah, I was just like, that's crazy. And then they came out with the movie, and that's when I did some research on it, and I was like, oh, it is a musical.
Yeah.
It was a musical first. I'm like, well, hopefully if Burton's doing it, it's not going to be a musical. Maybe it's just going to be like one of those like docu-series like style, like where they like he gets more in depth on like the character of Sweeney Todd and how he becomes, you know, who he is. And but yeah, that was not the case.
Yeah, no, it was just it was a direct adaptation from the musical into a movie musical, which again, I don't know why they make movie musicals. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, started back with Disney, you know, but kids love that shit. So, but
yeah, I mean, cartoon singing is one thing, but yeah, I don't know. Singing the dialogue is the part that I'm like, I don't get it. Just say the dialogue. You don't need to sing.
Well, it's like Mary Poppins all over again.
Yeah.
You know, spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Right.
Like they had to do a whole number about that. So, anyways. Moving on from that to 2010 is Alice in Wonderland. So, back again with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter.
Yep.
This one has... who was the main chick? I don't think she was anybody that I knew of at the time.
Yeah, no, this is the first time I see her. Her name is Mia Wasik... Dude. I'm going to butcher the name. I'm sorry. Mia Wasikowska.
Yeah, that's probably what I would pronounce it. Is she any relation to those... no, they have a different name. The Matrix guys.
The
girls.
The Wachowskis?
Yeah, the Wachowskis. Yeah. Who are now women. Opposed to brother. They were brothers, now they're sisters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she is not part of their hive. Yeah, so Anne Hathaway, Alan Rickman, God rest his soul. Who else was in this?
Anne Hathaway. Yeah, this movie as an that's why I don't really consider it one of those even though I guess Disney considers it part of the new live action versions of their animated classics, because when I saw the box set, I think I saw it at Target or something like this. They included it with Aladdin and The Lion King and all the other ones they've made so far. It was in the box set, but I don't really consider, because it wasn't a direct adaptation as some of these later ones are. They're pretty much frame to frame adaptations. This one, Tim Burton did what he wanted with the Alice in Wonderland story, and but still they consider a Disney live action. So there you go. I think it was more adapted from the book than from the movies. Is the feeling I got.
Even though the second one's called Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is the original book.
Exactly, and that one does not get included in the live action series for Disney. So
yeah, because
what's up with that?
Burton
What's up with that, Disney?
Burton only produced that one; he didn't direct it, so it didn't have that finesse to it.
Make it make sense, Disney.
So moving on from Alice is 2012 Dark Shadows. This was really cool. Definitely a new take on Dark Shadows, which was a soap opera back in the 60s.
Yeah.
With Barnabas Collins being the vampire of the family. My mom watched this series as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. And then they brought it back in like the 90s, I think it was. Kind of try to revamp it. It didn't last very long, but it was still kind of cool to watch. She recorded all the episodes. But yeah, to see the adaptation to the big screen, it was cool. I mean, I think it should have been longer, or at least he should have made this into more of like how he has Wednesday, like a series. But I don't think that was the thing going on back in 2012. Everything was about making movies, not TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
But definitely a cool take. Michelle Pfeiffer, she was in it. What's her face? Who's that young chick? The young girl. Played Hit Girl. Chloe
Moretz.
Yeah. Is that her name? No, that's part of her name. She has like 3 names.
Yeah, she has 3 names. I forget the middle one. The middle one's kind of weird. I don't remember it. Oh, it's Grace. Chloe Grace.
Chloe Grace
not that
Moretz.
weird.
Oh, okay. Oh, man, it brought me right up to the TV show. I didn't want the TV show. So the TV show was from 66 to 71, the original. And then, like I said, they had a reboot back in the 90s. And then I want to say there was another reboot, but I'm not too positive about that. Maybe if we do another, or maybe if we do an episode based on Dark Shadows, we can go more in depth in that. But yeah, the movie was really cool.
Yeah, Eva Green was in
Yeah,
it.
Eva Green.
I think, is this the first time she appears in a Tim Burton movie? I think so, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
She will be back for a couple more. I think she's beginning to be like one of those Tim Burton actresses,
One that he's not dating.
Yeah. Yet.
I don't know. Don't say that to Monica. Poor Monica. Yeah, so Dark Shadows, that was pretty cool. And then we get to the same year, the animated version of Frankenweenie. So he did the live action back in the 80s, which was a short. And then, like you said, Disney fired him for it. And then now he's testing the waters, I'm guessing, like doing an animated version.
Yeah, doing what he really intended to do, right? This version of Frankenweenie has a lot more characters. It fleshes out the story a little more. I did feel with the short film that the story was a little bit rushed. So there's a few concessions that you have to make, a few decisions that the characters make that you can tell it's purely for driving the plot forward and not really making sense in the story, just to further the plot. But you get some new versions of some of the old characters. For example, Sofia Coppola, a very young Sofia Coppola, plays the neighbor girl called Anne Chambers. And then the character returns for the animated version, but they just call her Weird Girl. And she has a cat who, the cat's like clairvoyant and can like see the future, things like that, and tells her about it and things like this. It's yeah, but they pretty much do the same movie, just more extended with more fleshed out characters, more intricate plots. I recommend you watch both.
Interesting. Weird Girl. That's
Yeah, the character designs are crazy insane, and you can see a lot of Tim Burton's artistic influence in it. He has a habit of like making doodles and things like that as character designs, and some of them get completely 100% translated just the way they are into the screen.
interesting.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. It's one of the other ones I also haven't seen.
Yeah, dude, check both of those out.
Yeah, definitely gonna watch them back to back. So after that is 2014's Big Eyes. So I definitely hadn't seen this one, but this one looked really interesting.
Yeah, this one is definitely a departure from a Tim Burton style. Another one of these movies that you wouldn't know it's Tim Burton if you went in there knowing nothing about the who's the director or who wrote it or anything. It's got a cool cast. Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz just delivered like the most amazing performance. It's very human, very relatable, and the whole thing is based on a real live story that happened about an artist that I was not familiar with at all, but I do remember having seen some of these pieces of art. I just never was interested enough to know who the artist was. The artist's name is Margaret Keane, who was married to another artist called Walter Keane. And if you haven't seen the movie, I won't spoil it because it's a whole thing with that. But basically, this artist made these pictures of people, or children especially, with really, really big eyes. This is in the 1950s, I think, into the 1960s, before America knew what manga Japanimation was, because the recurring thing on Japanimation is people have like proportionally too big of eyeballs on the characters, right? But in America, this lady Margaret Keane already had that concept of characters with disproportionate eyeballs, and they called them the Big Eyes. And it's basically a biopic, is what this is. And
he's gotten quite the eclectic cast here. Not the same lineup of his normal,
No, he doesn't bring anybody of like his recurring actors,
Yeah, like you said, Amy Adams, Christoph Waltz, Danny Houston, Kristen Ritter, Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
Jason Schwartzman's like one of those guys who really attaches himself to very eclectic style, more like Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
He loves Wes Anderson movies,
and he's been in almost all of the Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah. So and then Terrence Stamp, Zod himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's
Danny Houston is in this.
yeah. He's got quite the cast here. Definitely nobody I've seen in any of his other films. Maybe he was just looking for that change.
Yeah. Also, at the time, I think it coincides with the times where. So, what year was this? 2014. When did it happen that Johnny Depp was first accused of domestic violence and things like that?
I don't know.
I think that might have some to do with that. He might have just not been available, or
Oh, you think he was trying to distance himself from that? So
not necessarily. Just Johnny Depp was going through shit, and he was just not available. But I think the Christoph Waltz and Amy Adams, the performances they gave, and the way that they fed off of each other and cross-pollinated as actors on the stage was amazing. I mean, this movie is worth the watch. Like, even if you're not interested in the subject matter, just the performances by Christoph Waltz and Amy Adams are worth the entry price alone.
nice. 2015. So he probably wasn't available. This looks like oh no, they tied the knot in 2015. So sometime after that. No.
Okay.
Oh,
So
it was between 2015 and 2016. 2016 is when she filed for divorce
Okay.
from
Cool.
him. So sometime in that year.
Maybe not too attached to it, but either
Yeah.
way.
But his next two movies definitely didn't have any Depp in it. So
Yeah.
which are his last two movies. And like that could have played into something of it, or like you said, maybe he just wasn't available, and maybe he wasn't available because of this shit that was going on.
Yeah. Either way, yeah. Check out Big Eyes. Yeah. Even if you like good character study, it's a good movie to watch.
Okay. Yeah, it shows he was the director and the producer of this one. Next, 2016.
Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. A little bit hard to say, but this is a little bit more back to form.
Yeah.
Fantasy, dark characters. You got Eva Green in there.
Yeah, returning from her stint from Dark Shadows. So 4 years later, she makes her second appearance in a Tim Burton movie.
Yep.
Who else is in this one? Like,
Samuel L. Jackson. Super scary as Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah.
not wannabe scary Samuel L. Jackson from The Kingsman.
No.
Like, that was a whack-ass version of whoever he was trying to play.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck he was doing there. Oh, also, I did not know Eva Green was French.
Oh, yeah. I've seen her in a couple of French movies, yeah.
That is crazy. She's hot.
Oh, yeah.
But I did not know she was French.
The cast is mostly kids, obviously. Home for Peculiar Children.
Mm-hmm.
So, not a lot of names I recognize. Just Eva Green and Samuel L. Jackson. Judi Dench.
Dame Duty Gents.
Uh-huh. And, magic and dark magic is basically what this movie is. Fun movie.
Awesome. And then last but not least, Dumbo, 2019.
Yeah, this one, a good fit for Tim Burton, I think. The whole thing with the circus and circus freaks and magical things going on, plus a very adult plot. Even though what I would say is it's kids having to face a lot of adult situations. is what I would how I would describe it. And having to it deals with loss of innocence. It deals with growing up too fast. It deals with a lot of melancholic themes to it, which it goes right along with the original 1940s film. Which again, if you've seen it, I watched it again the other day, and super sad movie. I didn't remember how sad this movie, and it gave me a little bit of flashbacks of being a kid and being like super sad, and I'm feeling super bad for Dumbo almost the entire time.
Yeah.
But Tim Burton adds a lot of more themes to it, and fleshes out a lot of the characters. Danny DeVito is amazing in this. That man can do no wrong, in my eyes. He has a really cool story arc. Goes from like good guy to bad guy to good guy again. So none of the characters are like one-dimensional. There's always character development for them. Performance by the girl Nico Parker, whom if you've seen The Last of Us, you might recognize her from the first episode. She does a bang of job in this and that too.
She was what's his face's daughter, right?
Yeah, it's his first daughter. Yeah, Pedro Pascal. Eva Green also is in this again.
Yeah, she comes back nice. Got
also,
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton, amazing villain from Michael Keaton, and you got Colin Farrell with incredibly true American accent. Looks like he's been practicing.
Well, he had a pretty good accent in American Outlaws. It was the one where he played Jesse James.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, he brings a little bit of that back. Yeah.
That's when I first actually was introduced to him, and I thought he was American.
Yeah.
Then I heard that he was Irish.
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
And if you hear like, especially earlier interviews, like for me at least, I was like, what is he saying?
Yeah, his accent was so thick.
His Irish accent is super thick, man.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten better. It's got a good cast. Alan Arkin's in it. These other people I don't really recognize, but everybody else that you mentioned in there, definitely, bang up actors. Yeah, Danny DeVito is just phenomenal. I think anything he does, he's just great. And he gives 1,000%. He's not just 110%. He's 1,000% when he's doing his job.
Yeah, especially because how old is he? Like he was in Taxi. Like
yeah, I loved him in Taxi.
Like I'm like,
and that's dating ourselves.
Yeah, I wasn't even born when that show was
the
on.
Younger viewer or the younger listeners are gonna be like, what the fuck is Taxi?
What is Taxi?
So yeah,
Google it, guys.
Yeah, Google it,
and you'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, it'll
especially because he looks exactly the same.
Yeah, and that's the trip thing is like how much he looks the same, like from then to now.
Yeah.
Even like on Always Sunny.
Yeah.
That's where people recognize him from.
Frank is my favorite character from that show. Absolutely.
And Michael Keaton is I think he's hugely underestimated.
Yeah.
I watched this movie about Ray Kroc, the founder. From McDonald's.
Yeah.
And he plays Ray Kroc in it, and phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, it's just everything he does. Even like when he was the Vulture in the Spider-Man movies, like his intensity, to be the villain for that movie was just was beyond the chart. Like, he's another one that puts that 1,000% into it.
Yeah, Birdman.
He was super under him and Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Edward Norton. And I hear Edward Norton's really hard to get along with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like and when you're acting with him, like I hear he's a real big diva.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I hear. That it could just be Hollywood being Hollywood, the media.
Yeah, if you get a chance, there's a really cool interview with Michael Keaton. It was very like it seemed like a very personal interview, or like it gives like a very intimate feeling when you're hearing this interview, because the interviewer is comedian Norm Macdonald, R.I.P. Just the way the two go back and forth and they talk to each other was so cool. So if you wanna see some very real Michael Keaton, check out that interview. I think it's on Netflix somewhere.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look that up. So that wraps up Tim Burton's filmography. You know, everything from Pee-wee down to Dumbo, from '85 to 2019. We have any more to say about this guy?
I was because his contribution to being a comic book nerd, as I am, his contribution to the superhero genre is so important. We talked about a little bit the Superman that never was, his third installment of the Batman that never was. Obviously, his collaboration with Danny Elfman, which created one of the greatest superhero themes ever created. And there's been talks of superhero fatigue, which I understand. I feel it too sometimes. And without spoiling it, because it's a very new movie, The Flash, that just came out, I don't know, last week or 2 weeks ago. I went to see it, and not to spoil it, there's a lot of really cool references to Tim Burton, really cool tips of the hat, winks of the eye to Tim Burton's contributions, from obviously Michael Keaton comes back as Batman, and they utilize Danny Elfman's theme throughout the movie, as well as other things.
Yeah, I got goosebumps when I heard it, and I saw him.
I don't want to spoil for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, but there's a lot of really cool clues are in the analysis that we just made. So there's clues to the things that you might expect to see as far as Tim Burton's contribution to the superhero genre, especially for DC.
That's cool.
So check out The Flash, and you'll be able to pinpoint what I'm talking about.
Right on. So that's it for Tim Burton. Timothy Walter Burton. What a name. If you want to know more about him, he actually has his own .com. It's www.timburton.com, or you could just go on Google, and I'm sure Google will tell you a whole shitload of stuff about him that we probably didn't cover, hoping that we did, but you know, we can't tell you everything, otherwise we'd be here for like multiple hours. But that's pretty much like Tim Burton in a nutshell, from us to you. So want to thank you guys for listening. This episode is unofficially sponsored by Liquid Death. If they don't know it, oh well. Hopefully they will know it soon enough and will want to sponsor us, help us out. Today's drink is Severed Lime. So this is actually one of my favorites. This is one of their sparkling waters. They have 4 flavors. They have Severed Lime, what was it? Mango Madness, Buried Alive.
Buried Alive. What's the melon one? Something about a felon, convicted melon or something?
Yeah, convicted melon.
Yeah.
So yeah, really cool play on names. This one, obviously, because it's lime, it's in a green can. So definitely, they really pay attention to detail. And then their tagline is "Murder Your Thirst," so death to plastic. All their beverages come in aluminum, which is easier to recycle and helps out Mother Earth. So this one's to you guys, Liquid Death. Thank you guys for unofficially sponsoring us.
Murder Your Thirst.
Death to plastic.
That's bubbly.
Yeah, that's good. I love the lime. So good.
If you guys want to hear more from my buddy's podcast, his name is Vito Trabucco, and his podcast is called The Gates of Chimino. You can tune in and listen to his Ed Wood podcast, or if you're just a fan of movies in general, listen to all of the podcasts that he does. He's very, very knowledgeable, loves old Hollywood and new Hollywood, and he is just a pleasure to listen to. Like I said, he's very knowledgeable. You will learn a lot from him. Check him out, Vito Trabucco, at The Gates of Chimino.
As always, if you like the music that's being played as the intro and outro, and also the background music, they have their own record label now, so they're doing everything independently, which they should have been doing all along.
Nice.
Awesome for them.
Cool.
They've been through a lot of shit with, from what I've read, they've been through a lot of shit with like records companies and things like that. So I'm glad that they're at a place that they can, do their own thing and do it well. So, and I love this band ever since I initially heard them. And I'm glad that I've got music to use from them for the podcast. So thank you very much, Zayo. So yeah, check it out. They've got multiple albums. Check them out. Like I said, it's zayoonline.net. And as for us, we have a .com as well. It's www.thehorrorscene.com. Not only can you listen to the podcast there, you can just go right onto Last Rites, and then just go. It'll take you right to the YouTube page, which we are also on YouTube under the Horror Scene. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Rumble, which is like YouTube but without all the bullshit. This is actually more of a platform where you can basically just vomit all and everything that you want, and they're not going to get censored. We're on there as well, looking to get some more subscribers. It's a fairly new platform, so hopefully we can get some more people to tune in. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify for podcasters, and the Google Podcast, which basically is all the podcasting platforms. So if you go anywhere on the podcast, you can just look up Last Rites, the Horror Scene podcast, and you'll find us. So yeah, you have anything else to add?
No, I think that about does it.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in and listening, taking the time out of your day to listen to our rumbles and rambles about the man himself, Tim Burton. Just remember to stay creepy, keep it spooky, and from our grave to yours, these have been your Last Rites.